The one question that exposes every fake person fears a single question so powerful that it can instantly reveal whether someone is genuine or putting on an act. This question cuts through all the carefully constructed personas, polished social media profiles, and rehearsed responses to expose the real person underneath. Most people spend months or even years getting to know someone without ever discovering who they truly are. But this one question can save you all that time and protect you from fake people before they can deceive or disappoint you. Today, we're going to explore what makes this question so psychologically revealing, why fake people cannot answer it authentically, and how to use this tool to build relationships with genuine individuals while avoiding those who would waste your time or betray your trust. The psychology of authentic versus fake responses. Fake people live their lives performing for others rather than being themselves. They've spent so much time crafting their image and managing others' perceptions that they've lost touch with their authentic thoughts, feelings, and experiences. When faced with a question that requires genuine self-reflection, they cannot provide a real answer because they don't actually know themselves. Authentic people, on the other hand, have done the inner work to understand their motivations, acknowledge their flaws, and accept their genuine thoughts and feelings. When asked to reflect honestly, they can provide thoughtful, nuanced responses that reveal depth and self-awareness. The difference becomes immediately apparent when you know what to ask and how to recognize the telling signs in their responses. The question that changes everything. Question is simple but profound. What's something you believed about yourself that turned out to be wrong? This question is psychologically powerful because it requires several things that fake people cannot provide. First, it requires honest self-reflection about personal flaws or misconceptions. Fake people are too invested in their perfect image to admit they were wrong about anything significant. Second, it requires vulnerability about growth and change. Authentic people understand that growth requires acknowledging past mistakes or limited thinking. Fake people cannot show this vulnerability because it threatens their carefully maintained facade. Third, it requires depth of self-knowledge that comes only from genuine introspection. Fake people spend their time focused outward on managing impressions, rather than inward on understanding themselves. How fake people respond when faced with this question. Fake people typically respond in several predictable ways that immediately reveal their inauthenticity. They deflect with humor or change the subject entirely, refusing to engage with the question because they cannot provide a genuine answer without damaging their image. They give superficial responses like "I thought I didn't like a certain food" or other trivial examples that avoid any real self-examination or admission of meaningful personal growth. They turn the question back on you without answering, trying to shift focus away from their inability to provide an authentic response. They provide responses that actually make them look better, turning what should be an admission of being wrong into another opportunity for self-promotion. For example, "I thought I was too generous, but I learned I need to give even more." They become defensive or uncomfortable, showing that they're not accustomed to genuine self-reflection and don't like being asked to examine themselves honestly. How genuine people respond. Authentic people respond to this question very differently, and their responses reveal their genuine character and depth. They take time to consider the question seriously, showing that they're comfortable with introspection and self-examination. They provide specific, meaningful examples that reveal real growth and self-awareness. They might discuss how they discovered they were more judgmental than they realized, or how they learned they were avoiding responsibility in certain areas of their lives. They show vulnerability in their response without oversharing. They're comfortable admitting they were wrong about something significant without feeling the need to justify or minimize their mistake. They demonstrate growth mindset by explaining what they learned from discovering they were wrong and how it changed their behavior or perspective. They respond with genuine emotion appropriate to the topic, showing that they have a real relationship with their own growth and development, rather than just performing personal development. Reading the deeper signals beyond the content of their response. Pay attention to how they deliver their answer. Genuine people speak about personal growth with the kind of authentic emotion that comes from real experience. Fake people either avoid emotion entirely or display emotion that seems performed rather than felt. Watch their body language during the response. Authentic people remain open and relaxed when discussing personal growth. Because they're comfortable with their humanity, fake people often become tense or closed off because vulnerability feels threatening to their image. Listen for specificity versus generalities. Real experiences produce specific details and context. Fake or manufactured responses tend to be vague and generic because they're not drawn from actual lived experience. Notice whether their response connects to other things they've told you about themselves. Authentic people's stories and self-perceptions are consistent and interconnected. Fake people's responses often contradict other things they've said because they're not based in reality. Professional and personal applications. Question is invaluable in professional settings where you need to assess whether potential colleagues, employees, or partners have the self-awareness and growth mindset necessary for challenging work and honest collaboration. People who cannot answer this question authentically often struggle in high-pressure environments because they cannot acknowledge mistakes, learn from feedback, or adapt their approach when initial strategies aren't working. In personal relationships, this question helps identify whether someone has the emotional maturity and self-awareness necessary for genuine intimacy and mutual growth. People who cannot examine themselves honestly cannot build authentic relationships because they're too busy maintaining their image for romantic relationships. This question is particularly valuable because it reveals whether someone can handle the vulnerability and ongoing growth that healthy partnerships require. Advanced applications and follow-up. Since someone answers the initial question, you can ask thoughtful follow-up questions that deepen your understanding of their authenticity and self-awareness. Ask how they discovered they were wrong about themselves. Genuine people can usually trace their realization to specific experiences, feedback from others, or moments of honest reflection. Ask what they learned from the experience and how it changed them. Authentic growth produces lasting changes in behavior and perspective that people can articulate clearly. Ask if they've had similar realizations in other areas of their lives. People committed to genuine growth usually have multiple examples. Because self-awareness is an ongoing practice rather than a one-time event. Creating safe space for honest responses. Get the most authentic responses. Create an environment where people feel safe being vulnerable. Share your own honest answer to the question first, demonstrating that you value authenticity over impression management. Make it clear through your response and reaction that you respect people more for their honesty and self-awareness than for appearing perfect or having all the answers. Respond to authentic answers with curiosity and appreciation rather than judgment, showing that vulnerability is rewarded in your relationship rather than punished. The long-term benefits regularly. Using this question and others like it helps you build relationships with people who share your values around authenticity, growth, and honest self-reflection. Over time, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who can handle feedback, acknowledge mistakes, and work together honestly toward common goals rather than people who are primarily concerned with protecting their image. You'll also develop your own comfort with authenticity and vulnerability, making you more attractive to other genuine people while becoming less appealing to those who prefer superficial relationships. The ultimate character test master. The art of using this question and reading responses authentically, and you'll develop an incredibly reliable radar for distinguishing genuine people from those who are primarily concerned with impression management. This single question can save you months or years of discovering someone's true character through painful experience. It allows you to invest your time and trust in people who are worthy of both while protecting yourself from those who would disappoint or deceive you. In a world full of carefully curated personas and social media facades, the ability to quickly identify authentic people becomes an invaluable life skill that improves every relationship and opportunity you encounter.